In today's news, could the BVI become another Turks and Caicos following the Commission of Inquiry? And internationally, we see Mr. Larry King dying at the age of 87 years old in the region as well. CXC Commission is now facing a lawsuit over controversial grading of exams. All that and so much more when 284 News returns.
2020 posed its challenges, but thankfully, many community-minded individuals and businesses came to the forefront when needed. The BVI Red Cross would like to thank all the sponsors for their teamwork in ensuring the needs of the community were met all of 2020. The BVI Red Cross would like to thank the BVI public for your continued support throughout the year. Happy New Year from the BVI Red Cross. Let's make 2021 great with the power of kindness.
Welcome, everyone. It is Monday, January 25th, 2021, and I am coming to you live out of the pristine British Virgin Islands with today's edition of 284 News. My name is Javon Wilson. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, at the top of our headlines today, we see the BVI being impacted by a 5.41 magnitude earthquake that hit the Puerto Rican region just last night at approximately 7:21 p.m. Now, I know we all felt that one. It was pretty scary for a lot of persons. However, luckily, we see no damages being recorded. As we move on, the Deputy Governor, of course, Governor David Archer, was sworn in on the 23rd and will be acting as governor until Friday, January 29th. When Governor-elect Mr. John Rankin is set to be sworn in as our official governor of the Virgin Islands. Now, Mr. Archer's appointment is in accordance with Section 37(1) of the Virgin Islands Constitution Order 2007. Additionally, residents of the BVI are now questioning the true motive of the recently launched Commission of Inquiry. Could this turn out to be another Turks and Caicos situation where power was essentially stripped from the local government by the United Kingdom for 2 years? And sad news on the international scene, viewers. Media giant Mr. Larry King has died from what people are saying is the novel coronavirus. Now we'll head straight into our newscast for today. Now, like mentioned before, residents of the British Virgin Islands have long complained about government malfeasance and the need to look into long-standing claims of corruption. Additionally, the territory's credibility has been challenged by the failure to produce audits for major government projects, making it very difficult to secure funding as well as loans. Now, as a result, viewers, as we all know, His Excellency Governor Jasper has launched a commission of inquiry into government affairs. And while the public may be breathing a sigh of relief, they're equally worried about the evidence that may be unearthed, or worse, the impact for brand BVI, whose tourism and finance sectors are heavily dependent on outside support, and whether also it could resemble the daunting outcome of a similar inquiry done in the Turks and Caicos about a decade ago. Now, viewers, when questioned on what could come out of this inquiry, this is what recently appointed Commissioner Gary Hickenbottom had to say. Listen in.
If I conclude that there is nothing possibly amiss with the governance of these islands, I will say so, and that will be the end of it. But if I find that there is some possible substance to the concerns, then, as the terms of reference require, I will have to consider what might be done about them and make recommendations for action. For example, in terms of whether criminal proceedings might be brought against any individuals. It would be then for the criminal courts to determine whether crimes have been committed. However, I'm able to make all sorts of other recommendations if I consider them to be appropriate in the light of the findings I've made. For example, recommending tightening up of controls over administrative process.
That was Mr. Hickenbottom, of course, speaking at the official ceremony for the Commission of Inquiry that was on last Friday. Now, viewers, 11 years ago, a similar situation unfolded in the Turks and Caicos that saw the United Kingdom government suspending local government for 2 years following a commission of inquiry on allegations of corruption. That inquiry, headed by Sir Robin Auld, a former High Court judge, was launched after a delegation visiting British MPs reported a, quote, climate of fear existing on the islands. The inquiry was told that Masik and his former wife and actor Lisa Ray McCoy Masik spent a fortune on a luxury lifestyle which revolved around champagne, designer clothes, and private jets. Though then Governor Gordon Witherell said it was not a, quote, British takeover, Britain made a decision to assume the day-to-day control of the Turks and Caicos Islands to put the island's affairs back into good order, according to the UK. Now, since the launch of the BVI's Commission of Inquiry, and with the antagonizing spatter we've seen between the governor's and government's office over recent months, many are now left to wonder whether the alacrity of this COI is a watershed moment to deter nefarious acts in local government, or a pejorative attempt to damage the eminent reputation of the territory that our tourism and financial sectors depend on. Viewers, lots of questions coming out of this inquiry, and of course, we'll be pursuing those answers. Now, as we move on, the Premier and Minister of Finance, Honorable Andrew A. Foy, said that the British Virgin Islands is seeking a, quote, just outcome in the Commission of Inquiry, but put forward by His Excellency the Governor Augustus J.U. Jasper. Premier Foy said that the impending Commission of Inquiry must reach a just outcome, the results of which will be widely accepted as having fairly and rigorously examined the facts and matters that are said to be the basis of issuing the Commission of Inquiry. Now, this was communicated in a letter to the governor from the Premier in a letter dated January 21st, 2021. The Premier said, and I quote, I am determined that the elected government of the Virgin Islands will play a full cooperative and constructive part in the work of the inquiry. The Premier advised the governor that the government has appointed international law firm Withers and leading counsel, the Right Honorable Sir Geoffrey Cox QC, and further explained the basis for that. Premier Foy said, and I quote once again, my concern is to ensure that the inquiry is assisted in its task of reaching a just outcome, which will be widely accepted as having fairly and rigorously examined the facts and matters that are said to be the basis of issuing the Commission of Inquiry. He also stated that this can only be achieved if the inquiry, as no doubt it will, acts with the maximum of transparency, applies proper probative standards to the information it receives, and affords a fair opportunity for important allegations of fact to be tested. Only if that is so will any recommendations for improvements in government and administrative culture that it might eventually be likely to take root and be effective. The Premier indicated that the members of the cabinet were not consulted by the governor prior to the decision to issue the Commission of Inquiry or in the framing of its terms of reference. Matter of fact, it was also reported that the Premier, just a few hours before the press conference on Friday, wrote to the governor seeking permission on the note of unity to be present. However, seemingly due to his absence, that request was declined. Now, Premier Foy said, and I further add, the lining of the international press coverage of the announcement before the territory's cabinet was informed of the issue, the Commission of Inquiry scarcely calculated to increase public confidence in your willingness to respect the constitutional role of our democratic institutions or to encourage the local collaboration and support that your letter seeks. Viewers, here we see the Premier really pushing for a genuine and fair Commission of Inquiry. We see the Premier has moved forward with his government to hire independent counsel. That would be Mr. Jeffrey out of the United Kingdom as well. And of course, as things continue to unfold, we'll be keeping you updated here at 284 Media. Now, after the break, we cover reports of a lawsuit against CXC over controversial grades and a new variant of COVID-19, of course, one that was discovered in the UK. Well, that has now reached St. Lucia. All that and so much more. You're watching 284 News.
What are the hell? I'm freaking out.
Is time.
284 News.
Coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands.
What's poppin', what's really good, what's happening, what's up?
Davis has won it for the
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now on the regional scene, our regional examinations body, the Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, is now facing a class action lawsuit from students affected by last year's controversial grading of the Caribbean Secondary Certificate and Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination, that is CSEC and CAPE, respectively. Now, viewers, according to reports, a law firm in Barbados has agreed to represent the affected students. A group of concerned parents of Barbados announced in a press release issued on Monday that it had secured the services of Aegis Chambers, which will represent the students' interest free of costs, with only nominal charges for disbursements. Now, viewers, the group said it had decided on legal action against CXC after getting no satisfaction from the council about its concerns about whether exam grading and in the subsequent grade review process, they didn't think that those grades were legitimate. Now, following protests by students region-wide, and we do remember covering these stories across the region, several countries were seen protesting. This would have been triggered by concerns about some inconsistencies and discrepancies in the CSEC as well as CAPE grades. Now, CXC had to agree to review. However, some students have expressed dissatisfaction even with the regrading. Now, since September 22nd, 2020, students and their parents in Barbados and across the region have suffered the inexcusable fallout of CXC, CSEC, and CAPE results, which were manifestly flawed and which has occasioned mental angst as well as material dislocation in the form of loss of scholarship opportunities, university acceptance into Aliyah, the group said in its statement. They further said, from the onset of this crisis, the group of concerned parents of Barbados, in association with allied advocates, has worked earnestly towards an amicable and fair settlement of this matter, heeding the call of Professor Sir Hilary Beckles to forswear passivity. They said such advances up to the present have yielded little substantial change, and this tragedy continues to affect the lives of too many students. It added, before announcing that it was going to take legal recourse, a legal route, to seek redress. Now, viewers, last October, CXC released a report of an independent review team that investigated the modified approach used for the 2020 exams, the moderation of school-based assessments, grades, which is SBA, of course, and an adjusted grading model, among other issues. It also pointed to fraudulent SBA submissions from teachers and leaked examination questions, among a number of potentially damning infractions emerging from the review. However, the review team headed by Professor Emerita Hazel Simmons McDonald also concluded that there is enough evidence of discrepancies on the part of CXC to justify remarking those papers. It also made 23 recommendations for the improvement of CXC's operations in the short, medium, and long term. Here we see across the region as it relates to CXC, as a result of COVID-19, many transitions have happened, but clearly those have not come without its challenges. Here we see the CXC Council being sued by students across the region for essentially not regrading those papers. As we move on, tragic news for St. Lucia. St. Lucia's Ministry of Health has announced that the more infectious UK COVID-19 variant that has been confirmed in the UK has now been confirmed on island, with 5 cases detected thus far. Now, the report said on Sunday, January 24, 2021, the Ministry of Health and Wellness received confirmation from the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, of 5 cases of the SARS-CoV-19 2 British variant diagnosed in country. Now, 2 of those cases are British nationals who were diagnosed in December 17th and December 23rd, respectively. Now, viewers, the 3 other cases are St. Lucia nationals from the Dennery, Mikude, and Bambunu districts who were also diagnosed in December 2020. We were told that all 5 cases have since made a full recovery from the virus. Now, on December 14, 2020, the United Kingdom Public Health Agency reported a variant SARS-CoV-19. The identified strain had been in circulation from September 20th, 2020 within the United Kingdom. This virus has since been detected in Denmark, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Australia. But the risk of the importation into the Caribbean and the rest of the world has rated as high due to incoming travel from the United Kingdom and Europe. And we have seen many countries across the region essentially banning travel from the United Kingdom. I know the BVI is within that lineup as well, as we continue to monitor these high-risk regions, and especially these new variants of COVID-19 that are seemingly a bit more difficult to handle. Viewers, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, but beyond that, we're going to be talking about media mogul Mr. Larry King, who died recently, as well as good news for less fortunate countries. One of the vaccines developed against COVID-19, which is Pfizer, well, that company is now set to supply just about 40 million free shots to countries that are considered to be poor. All that and so much more when 284 News returns.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, son.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. On the international scene, the world over is now mourning the death of Mr. Larry King. Very tragic news over the weekend. He is a longtime CNN host who became, of course, an icon through his interviews and countless newsmakers and his sartorial sensibilities as well. He has died at the age of 87 years old. Now, viewers, King hosted Larry King Live, and I mean, all of us have seen at least one episode. Very well known across the world, hosted on CNN for over 25 years, interviewing presidential candidates, celebrities, athletes, movie stars, and even people, everyday people. He retired in 2010 after taping more than 6,000 episodes of the show. Now, viewers, a statement was posted on his verified Facebook account announcing his passing. His son, Chance, confirmed King's death Saturday morning. The post said, and I quote, "With profound sadness, Aura Media announces the death of our co-founder, host, and friend, Larry King, who passed away this morning at age 87 at the Cedars Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles." The statement added, "For 63 years and across platforms of radio, television, and digital media, Larry's radio, television, and digital media, Larry's many thousands of viewers, awards, and global acclaim stand as a testament to his unique and lasting talent as a broadcaster." The statement did not give a cause of death. However, King was actually hospitalized with COVID-19 in late December at the same hospital, a source close to the family said. Now, Larry King was certainly one of the moguls known in media. He interviewed every president from Ford all the way to Obama. In an era filled with star newsmen, King was definitely a giant, among the most prominent questioners on television and a host as well to movie stars and world-class athletes, with an affable, easygoing demeanor that distinguished him from more intense TV interviewers. King perfected a very casual approach in the question and answer format, always leaning forward. And we do remember that he's always in this position, listening very keenly and intently to his guests and very rarely interrupting them. King was always fond of saying, "I've never learned anything while I was talking." And I think, viewers, that is a very profound statement that we all can learn from. And just speaking really to who he was. So we want to send our condolences to the family, friends, and fans of the legendary Larry King. I know ever since his death, many persons have stormed to social media to express their condolences, and not just within the CNN network, but across the media industry in general. We have seen an outpouring of support and condolences, not only for his family, but really celebrating Larry King's legacy. And as a media professional as well, it is always great for us to reflect not only on the life of the persons who mold the industry, but on the contributions they would have made and the opportunities those contributions would have provided for persons like you and I who thrive within this industry. So again, our heartfelt condolences to the Larry King family, friends, and his fans as well. And further on, Pfizer on Friday has now committed to supplying up to 40 million doses of its COVID-19 vaccine this year to a World Health Organization-backed effort to get affordable shots to poor and middle-income countries. Now, viewers, this deal is a boost to the global program known as COVAX, as wealthy nations have snapped up most of the millions of coming shots. The commitment, announced at a virtual press conference held by the Geneva-based World Health Organization, is seen as an important cause because Pfizer and its partner biotech won the first emergency authorization from the influential U.S. Food and Drug Administration in mid-December. That clearance makes it very easy for international health groups and poor nations to quickly okay emergency use. Now, earlier this week, World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom criticized drug makers for seeking profits from the pandemic and mostly supplying wealthy countries. The 40 million doses for a vaccine requiring 2 doses are a tiny sliver of what's needed for COVAX, which aims to vaccinate billions of people in 92 low and middle-income countries. The global program previously secured access to nearly 2 billion doses of vaccines from 5 other vaccines producers, plus options on 1 billion doses more. New York-based Pfizer Inc. had not previously committed to providing its COVID-19 vaccine to poor countries without making a profit during the pandemic, as a couple of rivals have. However, Pfizer and Germany's biotech said that they would provide their vaccine to COVAX at an undisclosed not-for-profit price. The companies still must execute a supply agreement covering distribution, but the doses are to be delivered throughout 2021, starting by the end of March. Pfizer Chief Executive Officer Mr. Albert Bourla said in a statement, and I quote, "We share the mission of COVAX and are proud to work together so that developing countries have the same access as the rest of the world, which will bring us another step closer to ending this global pandemic." Dr. Seth Berkley, the CEO of Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, which is leading procurement and delivery for vaccines for COVAX, called the deal a major step toward equitable access to vaccines. And viewers, one of the concerns coming out of vaccines being developed for COVID-19 is, like Mr. Berkley said, the equitable distribution. We do know that this is a commodity that is highly priced. When we think about Pfizer priced at $20 per shot and Moderna at about $30 per shot, respectively, we do know that it will be very difficult for persons in countries that are less fortunate to be able to secure those vaccines. Even here in the BVI, as a British Overseas Territory, we were able to secure just about 8,000 vaccines from the United Kingdom. And even with that, having a population of over 35,000, it makes it difficult to decide who will get the vaccines first. We have also seen that based on the rollout across the world in other countries, of course, the most vulnerable groups are being given the shot first. This includes the medical professionals, those, of course, who are on the front lines fighting against COVID-19. In addition to that, we see provisions being made for vulnerable groups as well, the elderly, persons with respiratory diseases and sicknesses, who the virus might be more prone to attack. So those persons are definitely being given a first preference as it relates to the vaccine. But outside of those parameters, persons are worried that the rest of the population who may need the vaccine might be unable to get it because of the high volumes that are being demanded across the world because of the competition to get to the vaccine. So here we see Pfizer, which of course is one of the companies that were first approved as it relates to effectiveness. Pfizer is finally collaborating with COVAX to ensure that less fortunate countries are able to secure the vaccines for persons who are in need, who may not be able to afford that vaccine. So viewers, of course, you can keep up with all the relevant information via our website. There's lots more articles for you to go over that we weren't able to cover today, but I want to encourage you to head on over to our website. That is 284media.com. We are also on Facebook at 284media. We're also on BVI on Instagram as well at 284BVI. So definitely very accessible for our readers as well. My name is Javon Wilson, and we will be seeing you again tomorrow to deliver your local, regional, as well as your international content. This is 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news. Of course, right here on 284 Media. Happy Monday, guys. See you tomorrow.